Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the May meeting of the Library Marketing Book Club. And we are super excited to have with us today the author of the book that we read this month, Epic Content Marketing, Joe Pulizzi. And Joe, I had Copilot write me, Microsoft Copilot write me an intro for you. I know you love AI.
We all love the AI,
We
right?
all love AI. So it's not too long of a one. I don't think they did too bad of a job. So here we go.
Okay.
Esteemed members of the Library Marketing Book Club, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Joe Pulizzi. Joe is widely regarded as the Godfather of Content Marketing, which we know from our book. His expertise in this field has left an indelible mark on the marketing landscape. Today we gathered to discuss his groundbreaking book, Epic Content Marketing. This book has been hailed as the #1 content marketing book of all time and has significantly influenced how organizations approach their marketing strategies. Joe's insights have transformed how businesses communicate with their audiences. His passion for storytelling, community building, and strategic content creation resonates with marketers worldwide. As we delve into the pages of Epic Content Marketing, let's embrace the wisdom Joe shares and consider how it can elevate our own marketing endeavors. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Joe Pulizzi to our book discussion.
Wow, I gotta
Welcome,
hire
Joe.
Microsoft Copilot
Yeah.
as my PR. That was very
Yeah.
nice. And it was all, I mean, there was no incorrect information, maybe a
Pretty
little
good.
bit embellishing, but no incorrect information in there. So thank you for that,
Very
Chris.
good.
Yeah.
And Joe, if you'd like to just, maybe just take a second just to say hey and hello to everybody in the group,
Sure,
please feel free.
absolutely. Hello to everyone. It's a pleasure being here. Hopefully, I will provide you some value or something, or maybe entertainment, if nothing else. I started in publishing in 2000. I got my master's in rhetoric at Penn State University after graduating from Bowling Green State University, which is just south of Toledo, Ohio. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went through some odd jobs and some temping, and I landed as an account manager at Penton Media. And Penton Media was the largest independent business to business publishing company in North America at that time. Now it's split all over the place. But at that time, it was a $300+ million company, super large company, lots of brands like machine design and HVAC engineering. And if you're in the trades, you'd know all those magazine, welding magazine, all those wonderful magazines. And I started by doing basically custom media, is what we called it, for large business brands like Microsoft and
Yeah.
Autodesk and some other ones. And it started with print custom magazines. And then we went on and started doing webinars and started doing online content and blogging, and then got into podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And what I found out quickly was that most brands are really good at creating short campaigns and branding programs and talking a lot about their products and services, and not very good at producing ongoing information that is valuable, relevant, or compelling to their audiences. So the whole idea of content marketing then went on later and started Content Marketing Institute and did some other things after Penton. But I learned probably, I don't know, a year into it, I'm like, this is the greatest marketing ever, because it's has nothing to do with the hard sell. And I love that. I'm like, oh, so if I deliver something to my audience that solves their pain points in some way, that they can come to know, like, and trust me, and then ultimately I can sell them stuff. I'm like, that's much better than an ad program or interruption marketing, as Seth Godin called it. So I got very excited with that, and then of course basically my entire career on it. It was called custom media and custom publishing back in the day, member communications, member media, branded content, lots of other things. And I tried out all of them when I was trying to sell custom magazines to these big B2B brands, and content marketing was the one that resonated, probably because us marketers are very simple people. We're not complex. And if you're going to do something in marketing and you want attention, you should just call it something marketing. So direct marketing, social media marketing, search engine marketing, content marketing. A lot of people don't like that term, but it really worked to take this small thing in a lot of companies where you had people working on maybe the corporate magazine or the corporate newsletter they were very detached from the regular marketing of their organization. And because we got Google, and then we got all these social media channels, and we had all these pipes now that we had to put all this information through, you're like, oh my God, we actually have to create like content that our customers actually want to engage in. And there's so much competition out there. So that's where content marketing came to an existence. We launched Content Marketing Institute in May of 2010 because everyone was like, hey, I want training for my staff. Is there an event that we could go to? So we launched magazines. We launched the largest event in content marketing world. I started writing Epic Content Marketing. The first edition came out in 2013. Started speaking on it and still love it today. And now it seems like content marketing is a regular part of most enterprises, which is laughable to me, honestly, folks, because it was just something. Um, I had, when we launched the business, I had, my wife and I had two kids. They were 4 and 2 when we started the business. She decided to stay home and thankfully raise our children. And I was responsible to bring in some money. And this was 2007. I quit my job and I did this whole thing around content marketing. And for the first 2 years, we lost lots and lots of money and nothing was working. And we were really struggling. And then this thing started to take off in 2010. And then 2011 was the point where maybe I don't have to go find a job anymore. Maybe this will actually work. And the industry just took off in 11, 12, 13, and 14 by the size. Like 2000 content marketing world was, we were hoping for 100 people to come to Cleveland, Ohio. Content marketing world was 660 in that year, first year, 2011. And it grew to 2015, 4,000 people from 42 countries or something like that. It was really ridiculous, the growth. And so here we are today, just talking about, a very important part of content marketing. And we believe that content marketing makes all the other parts of content of marketing better. It makes your PR better. It makes your advertising better. If you have a wonderful experience on your website, if you're findable, if you can build an audience, an owned audience versus renting that audience on social, always better. So that's probably longer than what you wanted, Chris.
Oh, no, Joe,
that's sort
great.
of the reason why we do all the things that we do and wrote the book, because at the time there were no, like, Epic Content Marketing, thankfully, has become a textbook for a lot of organizations. There was no, like, where would you go for that information before that point? It didn't really exist. So we just started creating lots of stuff that we felt the marketplace needed.
There's no like Kotler book on content marketing or anybody else that had
like
those.
integrated, like maybe a lot of you know Don Schultz, the father of integrated marketing. IMC, amazing book, one of my favorite books of all time. But IMC was it was part of it, but much different than what we were trying to do with, hey, we should look at our customers as an audience and what would they like to know, and we're not just pushing product all day long. And things like loyalty and customer experience, content is tied with those throughout the buying journey and the post sales journey. And now that we realize that, I think it makes for a better customer experience.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, so it's a great book. I definitely can see how this could be a something that is easy to refer to again and again, and kind of look back and go and see. So usually, Joe, what I do is I throw it out to the group to get an initial reaction, to get initial. So let's see what did you think of the book? For those that had a chance to read it this month, what did you think of the book? Pop open you can feel free to raise your hand. I can call on you, or just pop open your microphone and jump in.
Well, first of all, who read
Go
the
ahead,
whole
Joe.
thing? Come on.
I read the whole thing.
You got halfway through and you're like, I've learned, that's enough. That's enough.
Who's read any of the book and who has
exactly.
something to share? Yeah. Sometimes still on the wait list. Yes, that happens.
So I didn't read the whole thing, but I've been around for a really long time, Joe, and I worked in publishing too, and we did custom publishing and all that good stuff. But anyway, when did writing become content marketing? I mean, it's writing.
It's writing with a marketing goal. if you're looking at it from, am I doing a blog or am I doing online content? I mean, obviously, if I'm writing my second novel, which I haven't written yet, that's not content marketing. There's no, I'm writing it to directly sell that book and sell that experience. If I'm writing something that has no direct sales or direct monetary opportunity, and I'm instead doing it for, oh, I ultimately want this person to be more loyal. I ultimately want this maybe it'll generate higher yield. They'll become an even better customer. I want them to ultimately buy down the road a different product or service. Like a good example would be, and we talk about this in the book, John Deere's The Furrow magazine.
Right.
You're right, Marianne. That's just writing. But what do we do? What are we doing it for? We're doing it
Yeah.
ultimately. I mean, the difference with writing, copywriting, if you're
Right.
writing for product information, you are directly trying to sell that stuff. Your content
Right.
marketing doesn't, for the most part, won't have any product information in it. It's trying to position that organization as the leading expert in that informational niche. And if you do that, I become to know, like, and trust you. I become to know, like, and trust you. I'd be more apt to sell other things. So yes and no. I think the other thing is too, it doesn't have to be text. It could be audio. It could be visual and imagery as well. So you could do, yes, you could have, I always say, like, where's your show? Is your show on your blog? Is your show in your new email newsletter? Is your show a YouTube channel? Is it a podcast? Is it a quarterly event? Is it a monthly event like this one?
How
A
about all
lot,
of the above?
it could be all of the above. And actually, you know this, if you read the book, you know this, where most enterprises go tragically wrong is we've had this explosion of different channels become available.
Mm.
And when I go, so I haven't done a content audit in a couple of years, but I used to go in as part of my job. I was a consultant and I'd go into these big enterprises and they'd say, Joe, audit our stuff, audit all. So we'd look at all the content that they're doing. And they would always say, okay, good. Joe's the content guy. He's going to come back with some great, amazing content idea that's going to change and most of the time, Marianne, I came back and I said, you're doing too much stuff. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically mediocre. The average enterprise distributes and creates content in 13 to 15 different channels. Most of it's just not very good and doesn't do anything for the business. So we say, okay, let's cut out like 6 or 7 of these things and let's do 1 or 2 things like amazingly well. Let's have the email newsletter for your particular industry and that particular audience member in that industry. And like, if you're B2B, as you know, you worked on the B2B side, you know, there's 6 to 9 plus different personas in a company. And you can't, like, if you're doing any kind of writing or audio, you only focus on one persona at a time, or maybe like even a smaller portion of that persona. So anyways, all these brands are creating, you know, it's content run amok. There's content everywhere, but nobody can say, okay, well, this is actually making an impact on our customers. So most newsletters that organizations do are terrible. They're spammy. They're product driven. There's not anything original in them. Most podcasts, I think it's something like 50%, over 50% of all podcasts have 3 or less episodes. That half of that's
Well, it's
brands that
hard to
try
maintain
something.
that stuff. I mean, we found when I worked at Crane Communications, and
Oh, great.
every
Out of Detroit.
time we started a new something or other, oh, we have to create a logo. We have to create a whole new, everything brand new, la, 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 la. And I'm like, no, the brand is Crane and that is it. We're not going to add 50 different brands because then you can't promote them.
Mm-hmm.
It gets crazy. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. And basically a content is your product and you have to treat it that way. It's very,
Right.
very challenging to do that. So yeah, I mean, the challenges that you had at a media company, it's the same. Like I always say that, let's say that what's a good one? Like Cisco Systems or NVIDIA today, like their marketing, that business model is the same as the New York Times in theory. But the levers of how you monetize that are different. NVIDIA ultimately is creating all that content and they're building relationships with all these engineers to sell more chips. The New York
Right.
Times does it because they want you to subscribe to their digital publication.
Mm-hmm.
or they get sponsorship or advertising. But inherently, both companies are trying to build loyal audiences. They're just reaping different rewards from it. So, but you're right. Really, that's why basically you made the point yourself. That's why most content marketing is terrible. It's absolutely horrible because it's hard to do this.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I mean, if you think about, I think we talked about some of this in the book or my new book, it takes about 18, 24, 30 months to really build a significant loyal audience through whatever the one thing is that we're doing really well or trying to. And most CMOs, and maybe you all work for, people that are running your organizations that have that are short on patience. And you have to say, no, this initiative takes time because it's very, very difficult to get somebody's attention on an ongoing basis and to be their podcast or to be their YouTube channel. And then social media and search are not helping us today at all. Like, who knows what the future of search is going to be when Google is basically scraping all that content, putting in Gemini AI, and they'll say, now here's the answer, which, by the way, this scares me. I know it scares all of you. This really scares me that they're going to pull this out like ChatGPT is, and they're giving you an answer that right now might be correct. So, and then you got social, which all the social CEOs just came out recently, and most recently was Instagram. Adam Mosseri said, doesn't matter if you built an audience or not, your content will be just as findable as somebody who just posted for the first time today. So it means our subscribers are meaningless, our followers are meaningless, all that stuff on rented land is like, what have we been doing all these years? And we're building on rented land, as I talk about in the book. And so now we've got to figure out, okay, we really want direct audiences. Email is still king.
Yeah.
And how do we build those relationships over time when all these other companies are working against us?
Yeah, I guess I struggle really a lot with that too, because with social media and what everybody else is doing, then your director says, well, we got to do it too.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, let's do a blog, let's do a podcast, let's be on YouTube, let's do TikTok, I mean, it's like, I'm one person. I can't do it. And then, like you said, it's crap. So
yeah,
it's hard.
It's so, I can't tell you how many times I've heard marketers say exactly what you said. And it's tough to come back and say, hey, you want to be in all the channels? We can definitely be in all the channels.
Yeah.
It's not going to look pretty, but we could absolutely do it. Or we could create our own experiences with the resources we have, and do one or two things amazingly well. We can do in-person meetups at the libraries, and we can do this great newsletter or this amazing weekly podcast or whatever. You don't have to do all the things, but you're right. The pressure is there. And that's why I've been trying to bang the drum to CMOs and saying, look, you shouldn't be doing all the things. You can't do all the things really, really well. Do one thing really well at a time, build that audience. That goes well, then you can go on to something else and adding resources to it.
Yeah. No, I think thanks, Joe. That's great. Thanks, Mary, for that. That's awesome. That's great. Yes, important discussion. And yeah, captures some of the best parts of the book. So very cool. Jill, I saw that you popped open your mic. I didn't know if I caught that. Oh, you're closed mic right now, but if you got something to drop in with, please unmute and
Oh, I have to collect my thoughts, but I was just thinking it's kind of, in the book, I definitely identified with the people being so excited and thinking they have such a great product, but it's not always about like the product, it's about, and basically, yeah, we're all so excited to tell everyone all the great things we have, but it doesn't always like reach them. So
well, to your point, it's difficult. I mean, I've worked at a number of different companies, and you always think that what we're offering is special. And then you realize that nobody cares about us, our product, or anything else. They only care about themselves and their pain points. And all that other stuff comes later to fill a need. So in the meantime, what do we do to build a relationship with this person that they don't care about us in any way. It was much easier. I mean, I don't want to say it was much easier. It was different. But when you look back on the days of how television advertising, I mean, and look at what Procter and Gamble, they had the budget. They could just say, we're just going to put this ad on 24 hours a day. And now we've got $10 billion brands. And when they did that, they got most of their audience, which is amazing. Well, today, try to go find your audience today. It is so incredibly difficult. And I mean, even so, whether you're a content marketer or you're just a content creator, you have. I just talked to somebody on the phone just a little bit ago. They're a content creator that was really struggling. And I said, it is the greatest time to be a content creator and the absolute worst time as well. I mean, really, to be a content creator today, you just need this phone. And I could do a YouTube show. I could do a podcast. I could dictate into ChatGPT and throw out a newsletter. But please don't do that. But you could do it. So your competition is so nuts. And then especially, I don't know how many of you are on TikTok. I'm personally not on TikTok, but I follow the stats of what's going on, where it is the most powerful media company in the world right now. And they're taking up, hours of time of the average US adult. And actually that number is getting older. We think it's the kids, right? It's not just the kids. It's now a large group of people. And you're like, how do you break through stupid pet tricks, people falling down, hurting themselves, or God knows whatever else? They get sucked into the death scroll. So anyways, not to go negative, there's still so here's a positive thing. Maybe a lot of you are doing this. I've never seen a greater opportunity in print marketing in my career. You get people that are getting the US Postal Service 6 days a week here in Cleveland, Ohio. And there's literally no competition. You want to do a nice magazine or a newsletter, it will absolutely get attention. Is it a little bit more costly? It looks that way on paper. Yes, when you do that. But are you going to, maybe sometimes we have to think back about what really worked before and say, wow, I can really get attention. I don't have to compete with a million other people at the same time. I know this audience. I know where they live. I can target them with an amazingly helpful thing that's not all about our library. That's maybe about different things in the community, whatever. I mean, it's whatever. I'm not trying to push print, but I've never seen such an opportunity out there if a lot of you are doing print marketing.
Yeah, it is something that I know that we've talked about before. And Mary says direct mail works great. Brianna, the summer reading promo mailer. I see a lot of library printing. And Jean, maybe that even addresses your question about how to interface with staff that just think marketing is the social media page and that's all it is. And that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, print definitely.
Jean, I'm so sorry if that's kind of what you have to deal with every day. That's horrible.
But no, and print definitely is something that I think, a lot of us can certainly look at. I mean, because the investment doesn't have to be huge. I mean, you can do some smaller things. I've just seen some libraries doing print campaigns for, $1,500 that have been getting some pretty good feedback because, you've got attention. There's not a lot of stuff coming in the mail anymore.
I just did a presentation the other day on how do you create a moat around your content business. And like Warren Buffett always talks about his investment philosophy, and it's around picking a business that has a large moat. So like United Airlines would have it's very tough to get into the airline business. So there's a moat around that. You're just not going to get anybody who buys a plane and they're automatically in the airline business, those types of things. So right now for content marketing and building an audience, there's no moat anywhere except for a couple things. One is there's not a lot of people that are going to spend the money, at least even if it's $100 to spend the money to do print marketing. There's not a lot of people that are actually going to do live in-person events. So right now, you all on this call have an opportunity in those two areas that actually have a moat that a lot of people in your organization won't do. Like I just think about I mean, I know nothing about libraries other than the fact that I use them. And like for my industry of content creators, like I just think, wow, there's no there's people trying to figure out like where content creators can go. If you're like trying to target like audience of people like me or most likely younger people that are doing content creation, like what is there a place that they can go to do that? Yeah, absolutely, the library.
Yeah.
Like build, and I'm sure a lot of you have thought about that stuff, like building out little studios so people can rent and use that, so you get them into the library. I mean, what I notice when I go into our Fairview Park Library, it's right by where I live in Cleveland. Most people are using the internet.
Absolutely.
So if you think about that, so they're either engaging in content, they're writing content, they're creating content. So it seems to me that we think about the library as I am reading things, but that is a very small part of what you do. So it's almost a re-education. I guess you all know this. So.
No, it's great.
But it's a re-education of what the library is today. And it is not only an engaging in content, it's a creation of content and helping them distribute that content. And being the place where that community comes together to do that. So that's kind of my take and what I see it as.
Oh, that's great, Joe. And yeah, I mean, yeah, and libraries, we are a place that do have, now we do a lot of live in-person events. That's one of our things that we do. So we provide a lot of those kind of things. So it's, it's neat to hear that those are good opportunities. So Joe, I know we've reached the half hour here, and I know you have to get rolling, but I just thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Really appreciate it. Is there anything that where can we follow and keep getting all this great wisdom?
Oh, yeah, sure. Today? So joepulizj.com, P-U-L, I'll just type it in there. I'll just do it right here.
Thanks, Joe.
So I do a newsletter every 2 weeks, personal newsletter where I talk about all this stuff. I got all my books on there. So I've got one novel, and then, I mean, you know about the other books, but I guess what I'm saying is that you are in a very unique, wonderful position in your communities to do some of this stuff. And so I know you're probably all like saying, hey, I would like more resources and I would like more budget. And I guess what everyone that I talk to says the same, is in that position as well. We need more time. We need more people. We need more budget. We need whatever. But if I'm going to leave you with anything, I would be, what's the one or two things that you can do better than anyone else? And there's a number, because you provide such a great service. You're already in an amazing position to do that. And then the other thing that I thought of, which is just off the topic a little bit, but if you're going to do like a magazine for your community or a newsletter for community, I know that there are corporations in your area that would underwrite that, so you don't have to pay for it. I've been trying to push Progressive Insurance in Cleveland to buy the Cleveland Plain Dealer for like 5 years, our newspaper, because I believe that ultimately the business model for newspapers doesn't work very well, especially since they put them under paid subscription. You can't get to any of that content. It's not helping them build any new audience. So if you have stewards of a certain location, they can come in, and I know there's some sensitivities there, but I think in the future you'll get more of those types of people that will underrate like great reporting and great service to the community. So the library provides those things as well, and there are organizations with huge budgets that would love to be part of that message that you have. So that's the last thing I would say.
Thanks, Joe. No, thanks. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And yes, we'll get on, and we'll on the Orange Effect. Orange, I got it wrong.
No, that's right. No, Orange Effect Foundation.
Orange Effect Foundation. Orange. Yeah.
And you'll find that if you go to joepulizj.com, you'll just click on Orange Effect, and you'll see we've got a nonprofit that we've been involved in since 2007, and we provide speech therapy and speech technology equipment to children and families who can't afford it. So we're like a funder of last result, and we've got for kids, we've got 400 plus kids in 39 states that have grants out. So basically, when a family can't afford speech therapy and they need to choose between and insurance won't cover it. They can't cover it any other way. And they need to put food on the table, or do they get speech therapy for their kid? They put food on the table. I mean, you always make that, you have to make that decision. That's a tragedy. So we try to fill that where we try to come in and we're a fundraising organization. And then all our funds that we have go to the kids. So it's our oldest is on the spectrum and just graduated from college.
Awesome.
So this is a passion of my wife and mine. So if you have people in your family who are on the spectrum, and so you might be interested in that organization. So that's theorangeeffect.org. You can find that at. So
thanks so much, Joe. Thank you for all this. Thank you for the time. And we will look forward to seeing you out on the internet.
Sounds good. Yeah. If you need anything, I'm everywhere. You can find me very easily online. So just go to the site and shoot me a note. Be happy to get back to you.
Thanks very much, Joe.
Right. Thanks, Chris.
You.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks so much. All right. Well, we can stick around and talk if anybody still lots of things. What'd y'all think? How was that? Was that useful, valuable? What'd you get out of that?
I wish I
thought
could
it was
have.
great. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no.
I talk too much anyway.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I wish I had finished the book. Like I bought it and I'm like, oh, I can definitely like
It's a
get through
thick
this really
book.
fast.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, that was great.
Yeah. Good. Mary, what were you going to say?
I enjoyed talking to him because I have this thing about all the buzzwords now around marketing, because I've been doing this for over 40 years, Chris. I mean, I'm an old lady and I've been doing the same thing forever. And we just called it marketing. And now there's every buzzword, and it kind of bugs me a little bit because it makes it sound so much more complicated. It's really not complicated.
Yeah.
You want to write to your audience and offer them benefits that they care about. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And he writes, all in that book, you got to follow 5,000 steps to do all this stuff. And it's like, no, you don't. I mean, it to me, it's makes something pretty simple, very complicated. And that's what bugs me about.
The book does, or you mean
no, just the whole
the
thinking
the discipline
around
or how people think about it.
What you have to do in order to la 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 la. It's so simple.
Yeah.
To me, it is anyway. It's very basic marketing concepts that have been around since whenever.
Yeah.
And you just meet the needs of your customers.
Yeah.
Give them what they want. I mean, it's not that complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, he looks at it differently. So
it takes time to get a hold. I mean, but it does. That's the thing. It takes some patience. And that's one of the things from the book is that it takes some patience. And he mentioned it too, to get this to catch on. Right. In the way that you may be able to get some splashes from, a bunch of flashy social media and a bunch of, other kinds of things that that people do. So it takes time. I mean, we've done, now I would say that I still, and he said something today that I still think I have a hard time. And I'd be curious to you all, the content marketing, like it's still hard to separate kind of the methods from the content, like the content as a product. So that's one thing that's in the book. So there's a thing in the book. It's pretty early on. It's in like chapter 4. And he talks about content marketing is about developing the product of content. It's not a replacement for advertising or a substitute for advertising. And, I think we've tried some things here. Like we had a podcast, but I don't think we were really using it in the way that maybe we were talking about the library. So does anybody have a podcast? Anybody else have a podcast that's here? Leslie, you have one. Mary, you have one. Leslie, how's your podcast go for the library? Like what kind of things are you talking about on it, and what kind of reception is it getting? I'd just be curious.
So our podcast has been around for probably 4 or 5 years, and it is created by one of our staff. He's a branch manager. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
And he does an excellent job with it. The podcast is called Unreadable.
Nice.
And
I like it.
It sounds like something that you would hear on NPR. He
Yeah.
paid for the intro music, and he does a variety of different kinds of interviews. It's only once a month though, which I
Okay.
think, you know, in terms of staffing, we just don't have enough people to do more than that. But
Yeah.
like last month, he interviewed our programming manager about the summer reading program. The month
Mhm.
before that, he interviewed an author who was coming in to do an author talk.
Yep.
And so, and that was our highest listened to episode in a long
Wow.
time. And we had over
Nice.
250 streams of that,
That's great.
which might not sound like a lot, but
Oh,
what
it
we
is.
justify, we're a relatively small system. We have 4 libraries. And we think, you know, if we had 250 people come to a program in a month, that's a huge turnout, right?
Yep.
So if these are 250 people streaming a podcast, that's getting that content out. But
Yeah.
the content is always related to the library in some
That's
way.
good.
It's you know, related to our programming or an author or a genre or a book review or something like that. So that's where I'm having the disconnect with content marketing is
Mhm.
as a library, I can't imagine what I would want to offer for content that isn't necessarily about the library.
Yeah. So I will tell you, when we did our podcast, you know, I had a great enthusiastic group of people here in my department that made that. And I don't remember that we did it weekly. I think it was monthly or maybe twice a month. But what they ended up doing was a lot more community interviews with like interesting people in the community, which was great, but it
Mm-hmm.
rarely connected with the library. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so we got up to, you know, probably around where you did, like maybe around 200, 250 monthly listens, but it, you know, it wasn't going to take us further. So that's why I like what you're saying. And I think, you know, those kind of things, like, stick with it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna make a big difference.
I think so
Um,
too. Yeah.
yeah. And I think, yeah. And yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, it's hard. It takes time to do a podcast, but if you can keep going consistently, and
Mm-hmm.
then do you use that same content? Do you now, you know, not trying to do all the different things, but like reuse that same content in other places? Like, do you take it and put it in a
Yes.
blog, put it in a social, and just, you know, reuse that same
Yes.
content? Yeah,
So
that's
that's a
great.
great question. So when it was just Ross, the branch manager running the podcast,
Mhm.
I think he just got to a point where he got kind of tired of it and burned
Yep.
out. And so just last year, we formed a committee,
Mhm.
and now he has a team of 5 of us, and I'm one of the people on the committee. And so they've just recently started doing this cool thing where they're doing a transcript of the audio recording
Nice.
on our written blog, which is great for accessibility. So
Yeah.
people who aren't going to listen to a blog
Yep.
can now read it. And then I usually do some social media posts about it. What I haven't figured out is really how to market it outside of us. You know, I used to put it
Yeah.
in our monthly newsletter, which has a really big subscriber list, but I was getting very few click throughs because I think when
Hmm.
someone's in newsletter reading mode, the last thing they want to do is switch gears and listen to a podcast. So
Yeah.
I need to figure out a way to get to the people who are into libraries and into
Mhm.
podcasts
Yep.
and, you know, have a happy marriage there.
I think, yeah. And I think one thing that we found was there were some local podcasts that we ended up talking to and having them host on
Nice.
ours, and then they ended up sharing. So, you know, yeah, we don't have those same, you know, it's probably not going to be to the point where, you know, a library podcast will become part of one of those big podcast networks. But if there's some local networks, maybe that's an opportunity to get people that
Yeah.
listen or into books. And then if you have a local public radio station, like you said, it's kind of like there,
Mhm.
maybe there's
Yeah,
an opportunity to get some sharing there. So yeah,
that's a great
I think
idea.
that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, Gene, one of our great, I just want to don't miss, want to miss the things in the chat. One of our greatest resources is librarians, and they know the programs best. Yeah. Try to encourage them to promote the next program while they're in a room full of happy patrons. But yeah, I mean, if they know the things, then if there's an opportunity to get them writing about them, that might be an opportunity. We're trying to do that with our staff. We're trying to balance the, difference between having the marketing department write things versus the people that are really the subject matter experts. So Gene, I think, yeah, there is a lot to lean on in librarians. And Lisa, haven't read the book. Hey, like I said, it's a thick book. I mean, Jill, you gave it a good try, but man, it is a thick book. It takes some time. I think it was a long listen. I want to say it was like on 1.5 speed. It was still a good, strong 8 to 10 hour listen. The amount of competition we face in getting the message through, it's when you started there were just a few channels, but oh my God, there is so much noise out there. It's so hard to get through that noise. But if you like do something like Leslie, like you're all doing, where you're really appealing to those people and the things that they're most interested, I think this is the right approach. I mean, this is the way to do it. So but it's hard. I mean, yeah, even when whenever we have money, this is where I think I, I'm gonna take any opportunity that I have to get some money and see if I can get it into some print, see if I can get it into a postcard campaign, because the return on that I think is just gonna be so much better than it might be for, an ad that maybe will run in a late hour and maybe, 7 times over the course of 2 weeks. I mean, that's tough to get those kind of ad buys. So, Lisa, you've got a postcard campaign now. Yeah. What is your campaign, Lisa? Is this the summer one? I forget. Maybe you were talking about your summer one. And she may be typing. Oh,
sorry.
hey, Lisa. Yay.
I was going to type and then I'm like, it's just way too long. Yeah, we're running a series of 4 postcards to people
Nice.
who are in lower areas of our community that have lower penetration rate for library cards.
Yeah.
Or who have perhaps lapsed. And so each postcard is followed up with an email to our in-house database of lapsed library cards. And this is something we're working on with Orange Boy Savannah.
Yep.
So we just started, so I can't tell you what the results are yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm laughing because it feels like everything's come full circle, where we're doing print again, we're doing direct mail, we're doing all the old school things, and that seems to be what's working. I'm working with another library in our community. We're partnering together on billboards.
Oh, nice.
Again, we'll see how it goes. It's a summer campaign, so
it's good. Is it digital billboards or it's digital billboards? No. It's wow. It's actual it's
actual paper billboards.
Old style paper billboards.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Digital billboards are just unaffordable.
How do you measure the effectiveness of that, Lisa?
So we managed to get a marketing grant through our system, and we have a special library URL on the billboard. Okay. And so we're going to be measuring those landing page rates. We'll be measuring where we were in these particular census tracts from the start to after we stop. And there's a summer campaign and a fall campaign. And we are also doing some geofence digital advertising in those specific census tracts. And again, we're just looking at all of those, where we were a year ago, where we are now, whether we get how many visits we get to the landing page, how many, whether there's any change in library card sign-ons or library card activity. Are we reactivating that base of that neighborhood?
Yep.
But we'll see. Yeah. But Yeah, it's all old school. It's all old school stuff, right? So I'm relevant again. Yay. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it can be tricky. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Leslie, to measure. Yeah, it can be tough to measure those kind of environmental advertising and things like that. So, yeah, go
I
ahead.
have one other question, because I did not read the book, but I did read the
All right.
4-minute summary.
Yeah.
And on the first page of the 4-minute summary, it says, if you're still using direct mail and TV ads, your competitors are going to put you out of business. And
Oh
here we
no.
are all saying, let's do more direct mail. I've never done a direct mail, but I'm really interested in learning more about it. If
Yeah.
anybody wants to share any of their information about that.
Leslie, are you a Savannah library? Do you use Orange
No,
Boy?
I'm just north of north of Atlanta.
No, I mean like Savannah, the software, like the Orange Boy. Are you Orange Boy? Do you have Orange Boy? No.
No, we don't.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
They help with campaigns. They might even be able to help
Okay.
if you don't have it. But Lisa, what were you going to say?
Do you have Patron Point?
We have Polaris.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
just as your, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Patron Point and Savannah are both marketing and patron engagement softwares. So it's kind of,
Yeah.
it's separate from your iOS. It's something, and you know, in the case of Savannah,
Mhm.
Orange Boy, it interfaces with your
Mhm.
iOS, so it'll pull that data over.
Oh, okay. Then what we use for that is called Communico.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. They might, but you can, we're just looking right now, Leslie, into doing a direct mail campaign. We've done one, Lisa, with Orange Boy, and it was great. I mean, we got good result. We got really good results, actually. But we're, it also was their floor now of what you need to do is too high for what we were going to do. So we're looking to see if we can do something a little lower, but we're just trying to do it with, like, you can actually get mailing lists from, what is it, Reference USA or whatever that's called now. Or, there's other tools like that you can get those from. And actually doing your own direct mail campaign isn't that difficult. And there's companies out there that can help you. But, when we get to do it, we're doing one right now for this Books by Mail product that we just launched for people who are homebound or have difficulties getting to the library. So I will share more information with this group about how that goes if it's something you're interested
I would
in.
love to hear about that. We have a mailbox books program.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about possibly marketing it, but I think we're not sure we can handle an influx of new patrons on that.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any one particular area that I am being asked to market. We don't have a specific goal of, we need more patrons in this area, or we need more of that. So I'm not really sure what to do a direct mail campaign about, but I like the idea of trying to reach the people who are not library card holders.
Yeah. No, it's true. And yeah, Tammy was saying, don't make sure it doesn't look like election literature. Yeah, definitely want to differentiate it. Make sure it looks like a library. And friends groups. Yeah, Erica, friends groups might be able to help fund print advertisements. It's something that, certainly if you could give them the credit on the card, I'm sure they would love that. And you have mailers that go out twice a year to every household in the community. The last one on summer reading and summer programs. Yeah, and QR codes. QR codes can be a good way to track. They can certainly be. We've had mixed success. And Mary, yeah, you've done too with Orange Boy. Yeah, they do a good job. I mean, I don't know if they do campaigns with non-Orange Boy libraries, but they are, it's certainly possible. So
like you said, Chris, they've gotten a little expensive.
Yeah.
They more than doubled their price from the year before. So I ended up just using them to create the list to target. And then I just did all my own copywriting and getting this stuff designed and printed and mailed. And
so you just had it printed, Mary, just like from a local printer?
Yep. And they did the mailing, and I saved, I don't know, $3,000 or something. And it's not hard to do.
Do you remember about how much per piece it cost for you to do, or just how many?
I don't remember. I mean, the total. We did 2,500 households twice.
Okay.
And I think it was I don't know, $5,000,
Yeah, about $1 a piece.
$5,500,
Yeah,
something
$1
like
a piece
that.
is
Yeah.
usually normal. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So
And
maybe
so
Leslie
you know,
can
it's,
connect with
they
you and
just, their
see.
pricing just went crazy. So
Yeah, their
I
floor,
just said, oops, can't do
yeah,
that
they said we
anymore.
can't, yeah, they said we can't do them anymore for less than like 15,000 or
Right.
20,000,
And
you
it's like,
know,
yeah,
dollars, which would still reach that many people, but they wouldn't
right.
do
It's
like
just,
a, yeah, like a 2,500 to, you know, two
right,
postcard campaign anymore, which was kind of a bummer,
right. But you can do it
but
yourself.
yeah, well,
It's,
Leslie, there
it's
you've
not
got,
hard.
you've
Believe
got a
me.
resource. Mary can teach you how to do it. Lisa,
Which is what we did.
that you
Um,
did yourself?
Yeah,
Same thing?
we bought the list from Orange Boy.
Yeah.
I designed them, I printed them, I worked with the Mail House.
Yeah.
So basically what they do is they sell you the list and then they will do the analysis on it
Right.
with the mailing dates and with the email campaigns.
Thanks, Jill.
So yeah, I could not afford the full rate at all. And we did, it's something like, it's like 3,700 addresses in one area, mailed to twice, and I don't know, 1,700 in the other area, mailed to twice. So
Yep.
I could
Yeah.
run the numbers, but I couldn't tell you right now what the per piece cost was.
Yeah, usually it seems to work out about $1 a piece. So
yeah, maybe, I don't know. That's one of the numbers I got to run. But you know, it was a couple thousand to go through Orange Boy for the lists and the analysis for
yeah.
that particular size market.
Yep.
Yeah, you could certainly, you know, Modern Postcard is doing a bunch of marketing right now on a service that they'll run lists for you. There are other ways to do that.
Is Modern Postcard an online service, Lisa?
It's kind of it's a marketing company. They do a lot of great webinars. If you manage to catch some of those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's, you know, they will do it on all-in-one thing, or they will just run the list.
Nice.
So it's a direct mail company. Welcome Wagon, if you've got one of those in your area, they'll go to new movers for you.
Ah, yes, that's what we're looking at as a new mover campaign. Yep.
Very cool. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what we'd like to see. I mean, we know we get some new movers, but certainly not, doesn't seem like we're getting the volume of people that move into the city every day or every month, getting library cards.
Our Chamber of Commerce has a welcome to the county packet that they give out, that we're looking to buy an ad in there next year. It's a little more expensive than what I was looking for, but I think that they have a really good reach. So if you have Chamber of Commerces in your towns, I think that might be worth looking into.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great idea. Well, we are almost at the end of this meeting. So thank you all for coming out today. Thanks for sharing all the direct mail advice, because I think that's very useful. Mary, why don't you pick a number between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 and 8 for somebody to win, or 1 and 9 for somebody to win the book?
Okay, 9 is my lucky number, so I'm going to pick 9.
Okay. Well, 9 is Brianna Hoffman. So Brianna, congratulations. You win a copy of the June book, which I hadn't announced, and I'm just announcing today. It's the Content Fuel Framework. Yay, a little confetti. The Content Fuel Framework by Melanie Diesel. How to generate unlimited story ideas. This is a really cool book. I heard a good interview with Melanie on a podcast that I cannot remember which podcast it was. It was a few months ago. I remember I was mowing the lawn when I heard it, and it was really good. And I was like, I got to remember this. So it's a really excellent one. It sounds like it'll be a really cool book to read. So that's our June book. I also have our July book picked out. So if anybody wants to mark down for our July book, that's Find Your Red Thread by Tamsin Webster. Tamsin is a TED Talk extraordinaire, excellent speaker, and this is another really cool book that you hear a lot about. And so it should be a good book. That'll be our books for June and for July. And keep an eye out in your email for the feedback survey. Appreciate always getting feedback whenever you have a chance to share it. And it's so great to see you all. Thank you so much for coming out today. And Yeah, so everybody have a wonderful month and enjoy summer learning. And hopefully we'll see you all in a few weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Chris.